Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Bound to Truth. This is Chris Lopez, your host of the evening. I sound a little bit jumpy and excited because I have a special guest on tonight. But before I do, because I'm going to jump pretty fast, please, if you want to reach out to us, first email is boundtotruth34@gmail.com. Facebook, Bound to Truth, also now on X, Bound to Truth, and on YouTube. Again, I'm going pretty quick on this because there's a lot to go over tonight. I had a great conversation with a gentleman all the way in Minnesota with 40 acres of beautiful land that I'm jealous of. One day I'll get there. And his name is Randy Bauer, a guy I had a great conversation with, a musician from another mother. I know it doesn't rhyme, but it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to let him talk about himself, a bit of his history, also what stuff he's already done with interviews and so forth, and really give him the platform to share the experience. And I will ask questions on the way to hopefully elaborate more and do his experience and this interview justice. I am blessed and honored to have Randy. Randy, thanks, buddy. Go for it.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, tell us who you are. Tell us your history. Kind of start from the beginning. Tell us how this train started rolling, brother. So go for it. Take on.
Okay. I'm 64 years old, and I live in northern Minnesota, about 60 miles south of Canada, like 260 miles north of Minneapolis, so way up here. And I'm a musician. I'll put it this way. I've never had a day job. It's always been music. I knew I was going to be a musician when I was 8 years old. I started playing accordion. So I'm still doing it. I've been on the road 45 years. I have 6 kids, and my wife has 4, so we got 10 and 11 grandkids. But I play keyboards and sax, sing, and I have a sound company. But I was never a believer in Bigfoot, non-believer, a believer, whatever. I never gave it a thought. Mm-hmm. Just like Loch Ness Monster, I never thought about it. Mm-hmm. But anyways, in 2013, after deer hunting's over, I'm a big into the deer hunting thing. Not on the 40 acres here, but in Minnesota, public land is called state land, but you can go on it. You don't have to have no permission. And there's nobody hunts back in there behind my house except for me. 2 guys used to, but they don't no more. So after deer hunting's over, the next day I will go back by my deer stand and walk the woods if I can see where the deer go during the hunting pressure. And I don't hunt by no fields or nothing. I'm deep in the woods when I'm hunting. And I just build a stand out in the trees there, a little platform with some camouflage burlap around it, so I can sit there and I'm not seen when I move a little bit. Right. Anyways, the next morning I'm back there, and close to my deer stand, I come across, and there was snow on the ground. I can see where there were 3 deer bedded down right close together. Something killed 3 deer in their bed. Mm-hmm. They left nothing but hair, not a bone, not a hide, just hair had been plucked out. And there's no track. But right away in my mind goes to, oh my God, a pack of wolves back here, and I'm back here with no gun or nothing. Mm-hmm. So I left, went back home, and I noticed before we went on the road in our band, we'd play a lot in Nevada, Wyoming, the western states. Mm-hmm. And I noticed, I was telling Terry, that's my wife, behind the house there, we got a deer food plot back there and stuff. There's no deer tracks back in our woods, none. Mm-hmm. I walked back to the state land. There's no deer tracks. I thought that was real weird. Mm-hmm. But anyways, we go on the road again, and we got back that winter, and it was going to be 40 below that night when we got back. And I don't mean wind chill. I mean 40 below on the thermometer. So I knew if I took the snowmobile around the old trails back in that state land back in there, they would freeze overnight, and I could walk the woods the next day because the snow was past your knees, even in the woods. It was a lot of snow that year. So I did that. Next morning, I'm walking on my snowmobile tracks. They're frozen. And I start coming back home here, and I come across these tracks, and I'm looking at them, and I said, what the heck is this? After it's all said and done, I did get a tape measure. They're 18 inches long. There were 6 to 7 feet between each step. They stepped across the river. Jeez. And I'm looking at them. And if that was a deer in the deep snow, every time it took a jump, you would see its belly in the snow between each jump.
Right, because I had the snow and everything.
Right, yeah, there was nothing. And the tracks were in line. They weren't staggered. They were perfectly in line. They stepped across the river. It's the Cormant River, and that's one of our dogs. We got some golden retrievers. She's
cool.
barking.
That's cool.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm looking at the tracks, and I kind of laughed to myself. is this Sasquatch or Bigfoot? I say,
Right.
and I kind of did the smart thing. I'm taking pictures of them, but I was dumb about it, not knowing what I was doing. I
Right.
got my tracks around those tracks. I kind of ruined the nice look of them. I do have pictures of them.
Right.
I put sticks in each of the tracks so you could see the difference. And I got those pictures from 2013 on my old computer. I don't have them on my phone or nothing. But anyways, I get back home there. I'm looking up Sasquatch, Minnesota, and I come across the SRA called Sasquatch Research Association of Minnesota. They had a little form you could fill out. I filled it out and I sent my pictures. He called me within an hour. The head guy said, Randy, you got a Squatch. That's all this all started. Maybe it's always been here, but I didn't know nothing about it. But here's one thing I can tell you about those tracks. I couldn't follow them. I tried to follow them back towards the river and cross the river going east. I only went so far, and every step was past my knees in the snow. I don't have snowshoes. And I just quit. It was too hard to walk. So I came back and I followed them out towards where the highway was. That would be going south, Highway 72 northeast. And all of a sudden they just quit. No more. There was no more tracks in the woods, just quit. It wasn't that because snow blew and covered the other tracks up. They didn't jump into a tree. And I can tell you a lot about that as we get into it. I know what they are. I've been told what they are. Well, I'll get into that later down here.
Right.
But they just disappeared. I think, what the hell? They just disappeared.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it's not like where it's like the snow was covered where you can see dentures. Like it's like it just stopped. Like
they just stopped.
It's just like okay, there's how did it go somewhere else? So you would just if it was going backwards or sideways, you would have saw that. Even if snow was covered, you would have saw like something was here, just snow starting to slowly cover it again. It was just like,
right. It would be like me or you walk in the snow for 20 steps and you'll just stop. And then a helicopter lifted us out of there. That's what it was like.
Even the helicopter would have made a mark.
Yeah, I would just.
The
rotors that blew snow around.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that's how this all started, and they told me what to look for, like structures, and I have lots of structures. Doug Hychek from the History Channel Monster Quest called my place Skinwalker Ranch of the North. I have hundreds of structures, and they're not wind blowing. I don't take pictures of wind blowing structures. There's no root base there. And I've been hunting since I was 12 years old. My dad would put me out in a deer stand back in the woods and leave me there.
Right.
I didn't know where I was at. So they were real big meat hunters growing up in the farm. So I had to set dark till dark. Not once in my whole life, and I'm 64, have I ever seen sticks fly through the air and land in an X, a teepee, an A, a V, ever. It doesn't happen. Trees blow over and brush blows over and dead trees blow over, they fall in a pile. That is true, but not in a teepee or in perfect X.
Well, it has a purpose. It has a purpose of some type of design. When I was looking at those photos you were sending to me, it looks. I mean, it's and again, you're going to explain more, but like to me, it's almost like a Bigfoot hieroglyphic of writing in some site or some type of warning or some type of marker of some type. But there's a purpose behind it, and I thought it was insane because I've seen things that are like. People would send pictures like, I could see that, see not. I've taken some photos myself, but these were just like insane. Like this had a purpose. It was like some of them were just like, dude, it looks like one was like a fork in between a tree. And I was like, oh, that's not natural. That was insane.
Exactly right. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It's crazy.
Yeah, bananas. It's like someone picked it up, shoved it in like they're trying to fork a tree over. It was insane. But anyway, sorry. I just wanted that illustration in there.
That's all right. And I don't bring everybody back here because I don't want to ruin what I got going on.
Absolutely.
So, but I bring believers back here.
Right.
There's people that want to believe. There's people that do believe because they've seen one. And there's knowers. I'm a knower. And we'll get into that too. I've seen them. They've been seen at my place 28 times, but other researchers I've led here, I've seen them 9 times. And I'm not talking about 10 years ago, I seen one jump run across the highway, and I think it sure looked like it was. No. I've seen them as close as 6 inches from my face. They've come to me. What I'm going to say, yes, it'll be hard to believe, but it's true. I have no reason to be lying or hoax. And since 2013, I might have been lying about it. Most people that are lying all the time, they can't remember their stories. I can remember mine because the truth is the truth. I don't forget the truth. So anyways. Anyways, they told me what I should look for and all that stuff. So I started looking for that stuff and I got lots of it. And then I was told, well, you don't really want to gift them or feed them because that'll be bad for you. Well, I didn't listen. I do gift them, but I'll tell you how I first started out. I would take my 4-wheeler in an aluminum ladder, and I brought 6 apples with me, and I cut them in half, so I had 12 halves. And back in the state land back there, I put the ladder up, and I put the halves in popple branches. And reason I did the popple trees because if a bear or raccoon or anything would climb up there, the popple bark's kind of soft. I would see scratch marks, and I put them up high enough where deer couldn't get at them. When I started doing that, they were gone every day. Every day they were gone. I'd have to put new ones up there. And one evening, I thought I'd set in a deer stand that's close by there. Now the apples are in the woods, but there's this deer stand kind of close by it. Like you could ride a 4-wheeler down it, but it's right in the thick woods. And I sat up in the deer stand and I seen my first Sasquatch there. It crossed over. I seen it out of the corner of my eye. It was massive. I mean, huge. Yeah, and then that did kind of scare me. It made me feel not real comfortable. But it was walking from the west going east to where I had those apples. I sat there for a little bit and I thought, I'm going to get out of here. Don't feel good to me. So I didn't even want to get out of the deer stand and go start my 4-wheeler getting down on the ground, but I did. And I left. But I had to put those apples out all the time. Now, to jump ahead, I do peanut butter and I do apples. In 2023, I went through 300 jars of peanut butter and 25 bags of apples. This year, I'm at let's see, about 25 jars of peanut butter and a couple bags of apples. Because I haven't been there all the time. Because when I go on the road, I'm not there.
Right.
But now I'm home now. I'm in the woods every day. I go out there and gift them every day. I talk to them. I ask them to do things for me. They do them. And I'll get into that. I kind of made a little outline here.
Well, before you that, can I ask you this question is
Yeah, you stop me anytime you want to, because I could go for 2 days straight.
Oh, I know. So when you're because you're a traveling musician, by the way, really jealous that at your age you still doing that.
What do you mean my age?
You know what? I like fine wine, brother. Fine wine.
Yeah.
You're taller than
I'm
me.
kidding you.
All right, man. Yeah. You know what? How about this? Your longevity music keeps you young. All right. Me, it keeps me short, but at least keep my hair. Anyways, but when you're talking about like you go home, you do music, and you go home, and they're like, I'm always out in the woods. Do you think it's because something's drawing you out there in a way because of this event, or is it just more of that's just who you are, a bit of both type of thing? Because it seems like, man, when I'm home, I'm out in the woods type of thing. What would you, I mean, just kind of like you're like would you say there's a difference of being in the woods before your experience compared to now and what's going on?
No, I've always liked to go out in the woods and walk the woods, and I'm not talking about go to a state park and walk. The deep woods there, no trails, deer trails, and do my own just walk. I like doing that. Maybe I am drawn to it. Maybe that is why, but yeah, I am drawn to walk out in the woods all the time.
Okay, perfect. All right, go for it. Go for your outline. I just wanted to ask that before you go. When you say I'm always out in the woods, and I was just curious, like your particular attraction to it, if that was it or not. But go ahead.
Okay. And then a year into it or so, I was walking. It was in the wintertime on the snow on the ground, and I always carry a rifle with me. I did not feel comfortable not carrying a rifle with me, so I did. And I'm south of our place, back on the farmer's land, back in his woods there. He doesn't care that I do that. And I'm getting out of these heavy pines, coming to an old fence line. It's really old, probably from the 50s, but still kind of there. And I get ready to cross it, and I get a really terrible growl at me. Awful. It scared me. And I thought, God, I got my gun off. And not that I'm going to shoot one, because that's not what it's about. But at that time, it's better to have a gun and not need it than not have it and need it,
Well, yeah.
So anyways,
that shake instinct hits and you're like, crap, I get it.
Yeah, I did. My whole being felt really threatened.
Right.
And I pulled my gun down, off my shoulder from the gun strap, and I'm standing there, and I say to myself, well, am I going to keep on going, or am I going to leave? And I said to myself, I'm going to keep on going. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to do it. And I found a track too. I found a track in the muddy mud snow thing. It was real long, 16 inches long, but it was weird looking. I don't have a cast of that because I wasn't doing that casted thing. It was still new into it. But anyways, I cross the fence. I get over in some pines, and what do I find? I find a deer kill, fresh, nothing but hair, no blood, no tracks. But here's the weird thing. The deer tail was up in the pine tree, but there was a birch stick laying alongside the deer tail in the pine tree. There's no birch trees there, none. How'd that get there? It was put there. So I sat down looking at it and all that, and then I got 7 bird whistles at me. It was the weirdest bird whistle I ever heard. I didn't see no birds. I did not see one bird fly up, and I started walking towards them. Never seen nothing fly up or anything.
Interesting.
So that was that incident. And then
so I've heard this before, like when I've heard, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, when I've heard like there's a presence of a Sasquatch, for some reason it gets silent. Like everything gets silent if there's like a Sasquatch present, like the animals know, everything knows.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've heard about them making different noises. It sounds like stuff like that, but like supposedly like people are like it gets weirdly weird before they experience like the woods just get silent.
Yep, it did.
Yeah.
It does get silent.
Okay.
And at that time, they weren't trusting me. I was too new into this deal because I got a lot more things happening now than I did then. So, anyways, then I was telling the head guy of SRA, he said, Randy, you got to stop carrying a gun. You got to stop that. They know what a gun is. And he says, when you walk out in the woods, you got to talk to them. You got to announce yourself and talk to them. I said, talk? You mean talk to the trees? He said, yeah. You got to do that. Yeah, and I said, okay. He said, it'd be like me walking in your house and not announcing. You're going to wonder who's in my house.
Right.
So I did. I stopped carrying the gun, and I went back across the river here in the cedar swamp area where there's a lot of stuff that happens over there too. I didn't know it at the time.
Right.
And he said, wear a GoPro camera. I said, I don't have one. He said, take your phone every once in a while, put it on behind your shoulder, then to snap a picture randomly. Just do that.
That's a smart idea.
I did that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I did that for that whole day. Nobody's home here at our house, and I'm all by myself. And I would say, hey, this is Randy. You can trust me. I'm just looking at your stuff and just want to be friends with you. And I felt dumb saying that, but I said it a whole bunch of times.
Well, it's like we said before. It's like when we talk about, it's like praying, right? You know, we're talking. You know, it's like, and it's not trying to mock prayer, but it's like we're talking to something that we don't see, but we believe it's there. We feel it in our soul. We feel it in our gut. We feel it in our vibrant being. So to me, it's like no different. You know, like me talking to you, except I can see you. You know, so it's like Dan Kent, right? We were talking about. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, I did that. And I get back home there. Nobody's home. We don't have no dogs or nothing at that time. And I'm looking at my pictures. Oh my God, I got 3 Sasquatches. I'm really excited about it. I can see 3 of them. And all of a sudden there's a slap on the side of the house. It like a pound. It like shook the house. But I thought, oh my God, there's somebody at the door. I get startled. I get up to walk towards the door, and in a female voice, it goes, Randy. Just like that. I said, oh, there is somebody at the door. I go to the door. There's nothing there. There's like nobody there.
Like a high pitch kind of like.
Just like that, like a female voice, like, wow. Not my raspy sounding voice, but yeah, just exactly like that. So I tell Jim, or the SRA guy.
Yeah.
He said, Randy, did you hear it or was it in your head? I said, it must be in my head. Yeah. Because there was nothing there. And we live on the country. There's no kids coming to the house or trespassing. That is not happening ever. It does not happen here.
Right. And
anyway,
so when you meant this, I want to bring this up here. When you said you heard in your head, you said mind speak. Can you tell? I know I shared my interpretation of what mind speak is, but can you describe that term mind speak when you said you heard most likely heard in your head?
Okay. Then I couldn't, but I can now because I've had some really good ones.
Okay.
I'll tell you about them as they get going. Yeah, it's like a total thought in your head that's perfectly clear, just like it's there.
Okay.
Perfect.
No question about it. You know what's in your head, but it just yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Right. It's perfect. So I went out to the house there where I thought the knock was, and there was a big white oily handprint on the side of the house where they hid it. That's undeniable. That's Sasquatch did that.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay. It was
Mhm.
now that wasn't the picture you sent me. I'm sure that was one out of many pictures, right? With the hand that kind of right across, or was that the one you were
Oh,
that
the streak? Yeah,
yeah.
that's the oily streak. That's probably from the young ones. That's happened now.
Yes,
It's
right,
happened
right.
lots of time, but this year it's happened twice. I've asked them to do it and they came up and did it.
Wow. What were the height and the
Yeah, those
one?
oily finger streaks.
Yeah. Well, so those were probably juvenile, but you had adult ones or high ones that you've seen and everything, or like ones you took pictures of, like the oil streaks, or you've seen, not take pictures, maybe, but just seeing the oil streaks, the ones from the
I've
oil.
never seen him hit the house. I've just had that evidence of the
Okay.
white powdery handprint or that oily finger streak stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So
Hmm.
go ahead and continue on. So they called you Randy, put some holy oil in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm not scared of him whatsoever. In fact, I'm inviting him to come here. I'm inviting him to do that there. My wife and has seen him. She's scared of him. Samantha, Terry's daughter, has seen him. She's scared. The kids have seen him. They're scared. Tanner, that lives with us, that'd be Terry's son. He's serious. He won't really go out in the woods with me no more. They're just scared. They don't feel comfortable. Well, I'm not that way at all.
So
I
why
do feel comfortable.
so you're feeling comfortable, you have these really comfortable experiences, you're in that trust, you're taking that leap in this relationship with this entity that's still a mystery, but yet there's this
Hmm.
great trust that's getting built, but they are
Right.
scared.
I'm
Is it because you've been more accepting to take that leap, and is it more because they're scared because like they're afraid they're gonna get killed? They're like this. It's just I just like the world the way I like it. Like, what's your kind of thoughts with why they're
Oh,
fear?
here's my thoughts on it. I have accepted to take that leap and I want to get to the next level with them, whatever that might be. And I'm getting a lot happening, but I want more. There, when they seen him, it's like, oh my God, them things are real.
Mm-hmm.
They were so real to them, it's like they can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared them.
Does it rattle the world on like just in just a little side note? Does it rattle the world like not just that Bigfoot exists, or it's not just some like? And I know you'll talk more about this. What you're stating that you believe more what they're about. Do you think it rattles the world like there's something else in this on this earth that is just not part of what I believe in a way, or like I can't believe it exists and I just want to step away? It's I mean what I mean am I is that kind of like that for them?
That's what we're talking about them. Yeah, that would be what they know exists, but they kind of want to step away from it. It bothers them.
Do they try to discourage you from keep doing it, or they're like, "Hey, you do
Oh,
your thing. You do your thing, man. I'm good."
yeah, exactly. Do
Yeah,
your thing. I'm good.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah.
they're supportive. I'm glad they're supportive because yeah, that's good. Okay, anyways, go ahead for it. Keep going.
Okay. Should I talk about? I'll talk about them listening to me.
Yeah,
I'll
keep
talk
going,
about
man.
that.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. They listen to me by doing small things. Like I'll go out in the woods where I do my gifting,
Hmm.
and I'll ask them, "Hey, put an X right on my trail where it's right in my way,
Hmm.
or I got to walk around it, or I got to crawl underneath it." And I'll come back the next day. There's an X right where I walk in, where I asked them to do it, and either got to crawl around it or crawl underneath it. And there was no storm or no wind. Now there's no people going out there doing it. Nobody's saying, "Hey, I'm going to go do this for Randy and hoax him, see if he finds it." That's not happening.
Hmm.
Um, the other day or this last fall, asked him to bend some small saplings over my trail where I walk in. What did they do? They bent two small saplings over popple saplings over my trail. The rest of the little ones were perfect condition. They were bent over there.
Hmm.
Then I said, do some across the 4-wheel trail where, and I don't go through there because I didn't, where I can't go through. You know
Hmm.
what they did? This is a really good one. These are about 6 feet apart, but a foot apart each other, about a 6-foot spread. They bent one facing east, one facing west, one facing east, one facing west, and they put an X up in a pine tree of different sticks.
There was an intelligence behind it for sure. It wasn't
Oh
just
yeah,
it
they're
was like there was an art. There was like it was pretty much an artistic type of design. It wasn't just like one here and one there. Pretty
no, it's a
wow.
yeah. Yes, they now here's one thing I did 2 years ago. Okay, on a 40 acres square, it's a quarter mile by quarter mile by quarter mile by quarter mile. And there's a little spot. There's two creeks back there that come together in a Y, the Spring Creek and the Cormant River.
Mhm.
Well, to the Spring Creek, sometimes I want to cross there because it's through the woods to get to another section of woods. I can sneak through there.
Mhm.
Well, there was a bunch of brush and a bunch of tag altar willows and crap in the way. I couldn't get through there anymore. And this is a good one. So I'm back there on a Sunday cleaning that trail out. It's just a little trail that I made. And I told Tanner, take all this brush and stuff, pile it back in the woods with all the butts one way. So it's a neat pile, not just scattered around. So he did that. He pulled them about 20 yards away from my little teeny trail to the south, laid them all neatly in there. We clean it up. We go. Guess what they did? You didn't know people did this. I go back on, well, that was Saturday. Sorry. On Saturday we did. I go back Sunday morning. Guess what? All that brush that Tanner had piled neatly was across my 4-wheel trail out of there, piled about 4 feet tall across the whole trail. The same ones that we just cut.
Wow. Why?
I know.
Was it just to show that we're here, or do you think there was what do you think?
Why was the dude? That must be the young ones. I don't usually give opinions, but I think it's the young ones messing with me. They're just messing with me. I don't know what I did. I just laughed. I said, well, that's a good one, you guys. Because I say you guys, whether male or female. That's a good one, you guys. You got me. So I did it again. I made a deer stand under 40 acres for some of my boys live in Kansas with their mother.
Right.
And the one was coming up to deer hunt with me. So I made him a stand close by the house where he'd get back there by himself. And I did the same thing with a bunch of little popple saplings, get them out of the way. And Tanner piled them good 20 yards from the deer stand. You know what they did this time? Oh, they took one popple sapling like a tree, 2 inches around, and they put it right in front of my deer stand where I had cut it and put it against another tree. They carried it over there and leaned it against the pine tree. And it's still there after a couple of years. I never touched it. I just look at it and laugh about it.
Wow. It sounds.
It's no way that can happen. There's no way that cannot happen.
It's funny, and I'm seeing it from my I'm picturing it in my head, like not only that they're communicating with you, but they sound little pranksters too at times. Like
there are pranksters,
having fun. It's like for me, I joke around with my family. I'm talking to you, I have some fun and so forth. But everybody kind of does it differently. But it seems like an all in good jest and kind of like a way to, I don't know, make things comfortable in a way. Maybe if I get that right. Yeah.
Okay. I got so much to tell. I'll tell you the next prankster thing they did.
Go for it.
Last year I'm mowing lawn. We have a big lawn, and I have one of the riding lawnmowers I have is a 425 John Deere. It's all wheels, all 4 wheels turn, but it's a steering wheel. And after I found out, tell you what they did, the lawnmower weighs 900 pounds. It has hydrostatic transmission, so you can't push it. You got to pull the lever out underneath by the motor so you can roll it by itself. I parked it up by our dog kennel. I went in the house to eat, make a sandwich. I come back, and it was facing east. I come back outside after eating that sandwich. Guess what? It was about 70 yards away, facing north and south. It wasn't on no hill. It was on the flat.
Was it like they can push it and roll it and everything? It was
it's like they put it over there. They didn't push it.
Do you think this sounds? And I'm not sure how much if you witnessed this or not. How many think it would take to do that? To lift that 900 pounder? Because I come from a farm town myself. I know John Deere's and those tractors. They're no joke. Even that 900 pounds, the weight is not like you're lifting weights. It's the weight itself is so off. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
I do know what you're saying because I power lifting competition. I know exactly what you're saying.
It's not like you're just lifting it it's like, okay, this is equal weight. The weight's is unequal at 900 pounds. So how many do you think would do that can lift that?
One.
Yep. Iron arm.
One.
Iron arm, yeah. Go ahead.
And even maybe they don't, I don't know. Maybe they don't have to lift it. Maybe they can do something else and it gets over there.
Well, you know what's funny? Little side note. Remember we talked about their screeching and everything, and and how about that vibration you're talking about? And I know you're getting bored to us. What if, again, silly theory, if they can make things move by that vibration, by that sound or so forth? I'm not saying they're not strong, but I'm curious too. Just a side theory. But anyways.
Yep. Anyways, there were 7 finger streaks on the back of our new garage, all the way across the back of it, just like they went. That's what it was like, because that's a corrugated steel.
Right.
and that was fresh. Okay.
Yeah.
They messed with us. I'm going to give you three parts to a story here. I bought this camper, this
Mhm.
little old thing,
Right.
just so when I'm doing an outdoor festival with my sound company, I want to stay by the stage and not go to a motel room. I need to be there the whole time.
Right.
And I brought it home. I had it parked up by the woods line, so the door was facing south.
Right.
Um, Door was wide open. It's on the flat again. There's no wind or nothing. I go in to get some cleaning stuff. I come out, the door is shut and it's locked. I said, what the hell? I don't have no key or nothing for the thing.
Right.
So I pry the door open. I get it open. I put a block in front of it so there's no chance of it shut in case it did shut normally.
Yeah.
And I go find a vacuum cleaner and I'm down vacuuming and one walked right by me. I see a whole half of its body and its leg walk by me. And my head was almost out the door. It walked by me.
What was that?
It was a Sasquatch. I'd seen probably 9 foot. It was taller than I only seen the leg, the feet, the leg,
Right.
and the torso part.
Right.
I just looked up and I seen it, and my head was down vacuuming, and I'd seen it. My head was down, and I looked out of the camper, and it was gone.
It must be fast because of how it's.
No, it is not fast. They can disappear.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about that. Interesting.
Well, I'll get to that too.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
fast.
Yeah. But when you had that experience, what was going through your head and feeling at that moment? We're like,
Oh my God! Here, I've seen you again. You messed me up and locked my
Yeah.
camper. I have fun with them. I'm not, like I said, I'm not scared one bit.
Right.
Nothing to me is like, oh my God, that's weird. No, that's stuff they can do. It's normal.
Mhm.
I don't have that feeling
So
anymore.
So when and I know we're gonna go more and you're gonna have more about this, talking about this regarding more deeper thoughts about the Sasquatch. Do you think that like you know how if you know and when I use the word animal, I'm not trying to say that in a bad way because I love animals, I respect animals, and I not to get in. By the way, the hunt, we hunt, we eat, and so forth. But like like a predator can sense fear, it will
Yep.
attack, but
Yep.
if it doesn't sense it, it backs off in a way. And again, I'm not experiencing that. Do you think Sasquatch is like that in a way where it's like, hey, he's not afraid of us, he's comfortable with us, I can feel comfortable more closer? Or if they feel you're afraid, either they're going to scare you off or just not be seen, or that if you get where I'm kind of going with the question. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. My thoughts as they're gonna back away from you or scare you out of there if they can read your mind. If they're like most people are out there trying to get evidence for the world out there, they're not gonna give you the evidence that people want.
Right.
That's my thoughts. I guess I don't know how else to say it.
Right. Okay. All right. Continue, good man. Go for it.
Oh, okay. So then Terry's daughter Samantha and the grandkids wanted to stay in that camper, but she's had a few weird experiences in the yard. She didn't want it facing the woods line. She wanted it facing down towards the garage, so the door would be facing north, down there where we parked the truck and all that stuff. So I got it moved right, and I called Terry out. I said, I got how she wants it. Terry said, no, she don't want the door facing that way. I said, yeah, she does, and we're talking about the door. And then I leave it there. I go across to my daughter's place and got the big tractor, and I'm mowing some road trails over there at her place. I come back after a couple hours and I go in the house. Terry said, man, we had a loud knock outside, really loud. In fact, the dogs and Tanner heard it in the house there. And Annie, the one golden retriever, pulled Terry right back in the house, got scared.
Right.
So I'm looking around. I go out there, look around the garage. I don't see nothing. I go by the camper, and what is there? There's a big, huge dent by the camper door. That camper did not have dents in it. So I don't usually give opinions, but here's my opinion on that. They're just letting us know it doesn't make a difference where you put the door, we can still hit it.
Right. Just letting you know that if we wanted to, or
right.
And I'm wondering if it's like not a threat, and you would know better, obviously, than I would. Like, hey, if we really wanted to harm you, we could, but that's not what we're about. You think that's kind
exactly
of that statement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Okay. And then a few days later, Samantha and the two kids are sleeping in there. Like I said this to you before, but what happens when you take a camper off the ball hitch of a pickup or whatever? You crank it off, you put it on a solid block, you crank it down
right
so that it's level.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
They're sleeping in there at 2 a.m. They get woke up to a loud banging on the back of the camper, and the camper is shaking back and forth. The whole camper is shaking back and forth. They shook it so hard they took it right off the block, and it was down into the gravel, the jack.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I get up in the morning, they're telling us, no, she came to the house, was scared as heck, and woke us up. And I didn't see nothing, but in the morning there was a bunch of dents in the back of the camper where they were hitting it. Guess what? They shook it so hard they took it right off the cement block I had it on. Wow. Down into the gravel. Wow. So here's what I said. I said, okay, you guys, I like what you're doing. Keep coming to the house, hitting it, have fun, do your thing, but quit hitting the camper. You're putting dents in it and you're scaring the girls. And ever since I said that, nothing has happened to that camper. Nothing.
Yeah. You know what? And that's cool that it's like you know, like a relationship where it's like, okay, where the boundaries are at, and once you kind of communicate that, like, then you find out, is that relationship going to reciprocate back in respect? So that's cool to know that they're like, okay, this is our intention, this is not what it's meant to do. He's saying, nah, it's cool, but not that, and they're back. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm at your house, like, hey, Chris, listen, man, I appreciate you being here, but clean your dishes. Oh, my bad, Randy. Okay, I'll make sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Before I get into the really juicy stuff, I'm gonna go and tell you how I do my gifting now.
Go for it.
I have 4 nails in a tree back in the 40 acres here, and then I got some little wooden blocks, little wooden blocks about 10 feet away, and then I got. In another spot, about 30 yards away, I got a Rubik's Cube and some dice, a couple popsicle sticks, and a couple other just little twigs. And then another spot, I got, when you do a zip tie, you cut the end off, I got them on a chair. So here's what I do. I'll go take the lid off the peanut butter, take the paper off, put the lid back on, put a jar in the 2 nails. Sometimes I'll do 2 jars. And then I'll look at my little wooden blocks. I'll put them in a design. Might be an X, a house, might be just a random thing. And I'll do that to the Rubik's Cube and the dice and to the zip ties. I take a picture of that. And the next day I go back there and they're moved. When the stuff is moved, I take a picture of that, of each thing. And then I got a little thing called Randy's Bigfoot research page. Just a friend of mine said, you need a page to keep your pictures in order. That's all it was for.
Yeah, and it's great, by the way. It's awesome. I love this stuff what you're doing, man. Thank you for inviting me, by the way. Really cool stuff.
Yeah. And then that's what I do. And I'll tell you, sometimes if I put the wooden blocks in a Jesus cross, it gets destroyed automatically. It gets messed up.
Yeah, and I have questions later for that one too, but I haven't forgot that one, the conversation.
Yep. And then sometimes the dice will be moved to 666. Not all the time, but it's happened several times. Sometimes a Rubik's Cube, a lot of times a Rubik's Cube is turned over, but sometimes it's twisted and it's cockeyed.
Right.
Well, that takes fingers and thumbs to do that.
Right.
Now the zip ties the other day, they took all the zip ties and they put 2 of the zip ties down on the ground in a perfect X. Okay. Now, bear do get the peanut butter sometimes. Of course they do. So does raccoons.
Right.
When a Sasquatch gets the peanut butter, they take the lid off and lay the lid down by the tree. So they're in color order. So all the reds are together, all the yellows, blues, browns, greens are together. They're not just mixed up. They're laid there. I don't do that. They are doing that.
And they're not colorblind either, sounds like. So,
no. Yeah. And they take the jar and they take the jar to wherever they go.
Right.
Which I'll get into that. And sometimes they bring the jar back and it looks like it went through a dishwasher and it'll be upside down in the bushes or on a limb of a tree.
Right.
I don't do that. When a bear gets the peanut butter jar, it's totally destroyed, all bit up. The cap is bit up. You can tell.
Right.
So I have saved some of those jars just to show people the difference. Right. Now, of the 300 jars, I've only got 3 of them. They're gone. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Doug Hychek asked me one time, he's from the Monster Quest show. He said, Randy, put a camera out there one more time and just say, hey, can we get a picture of you? And it'll only be for me and it'll be for Doug. We won't share it to nobody. Right. But then I said, if you never want cameras on this property ever, you got to give me a sign that I can see that you don't want cameras here.
Right.
The next day I go back there, there's a 15-foot Y stick, like a Y tree, a Y stick on my camera. And there's no pictures of me setting it up, of the Y stick being put there, nothing. Batteries are drained dry and the SD card's wiped clean. So I took that as a sign they don't want cameras there, and I don't do cameras anymore.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't care to, I'm not trying to get evidence for the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that, and that's why I'm getting so much evidence. Because I'm not trying to get evidence.
Right. And
people will say to me, "Hi, Randy, put mud down by your peanut butter area so you can get a track or flour down there." Nope, I'm not doing any of that. Nope, I won't do, and I won't let anybody come here and do cameras either.
well,
I don't want to ruin the trust I've got so far.
right. And you know what's funny too is, I mean, I remember we had this conversation too. It's good to have, it's great to have the inquisitives, but what's your true intent? And like the exploitation, I think it's like kind of like that celebrity status. It's like, what's the point of exploiting? Is it to share the truth of what's real, to expand our world? Is it just to make money? Is it to make yourself famous type of thing? And I agree with you with that. And I'm glad that you have that respect, because you could have been like, okay, sure, Dave, what's it, Doug or David Hychek, David Hychek, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could have been like, sure, I would have put that there. No, I think what's cool, and again, I'm just speaking as a person with relationship, that you actually had like, listen, if you don't want me doing this, or asking to do this, if you want me to do this, let me know. I want to respect the relationship we have. And they let you know,
Yep.
like, okay, cool, right?
Yep.
And I gotta say that's really something to really to accommodate, like how you respect a relationship. And I think that's awesome you do that, because it's about the experience and so forth. Because like for me, if I had that same experience with you, I want to keep experience with Bigfoot. I would like to keep that experience going too, in respect.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, to me, it's like the world's bigger than what it is. And if or when it's ready, we can share that, but it's got to be with the right intent. I get, that's me.
Right,
Sorry.
because because there's at the beginning I said I got to reach out to somebody after a few years of this. I got to reach out to somebody, get somebody, tell somebody about this. There's been a book written about my place, been published by Doug Hychek. I ain't getting a penny out of it, because it wasn't about. Yeah, I need more money than anybody doesn't pay my bills. Of course I do. What do I do for a living? I'm a musician. But it's not about that. I ain't getting a penny out of it.
Right.
Because that's not about that at all.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. That's not what it's about. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, man. And again, side note, I've been in Southern Orange County, California. I met certain people and certain celebrities and all this stuff. I've seen people with rich houses. Let me tell you something, man. Not to go biblical, but it's like that whitewashed tomb. It's beautiful on the outside, but inside it's dirty. And I've been in places where it's just not right, man. To me, it's about the vibe, it's about the intent, it's about the atmosphere. And to me, it's like, I'm happy. To me, nature, where I'm at, and you're more nature than I am, because I'm still rural, but you're out with 40 acres. To me, that's my sanctuary. That's my,
but
you know what I'm saying?
You got to look at this. 40 acres just here, 1,000 acres behind me. All land too. It's lots of land. Yeah.
But to me, that's a sanctuary. That's like at purity at its finest of nature form. But anyways.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you. I'll give you 4 parts of this next deal. Mm-hmm. Okay, they've been in my house before. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say it's Sasquatch, because I've seen them 9 times close. I've never seen nothing else but that. They've been seen 28 times at my place. I've never seen nothing else. So that's why I'm saying it's Sasquatch. Okay, anyways, I was at a rodeo in Bemidji, Minnesota. My granddaughter, just to brag about it, she made 7th in the world in calf or breakaway roping, calf roping, and poles. Anyways, and it was a couple years ago, and it rained really bad that day, so the hay was getting all wet. So daughter Rachel said, "Can you take our big trailer and the flatbed truck and leave your pickup?" And I had the 2 grandkids with me, Bristol and Madison. So I said, "Yeah." So I'll do that. And I had bought a laptop computer that day. So we get home at 10 o'clock, and I got their truck, big trailer. Oh my God! I get to the house, the door's locked. I can't get in. Rachel's got my keys. I only have 1 house key. She's got it. So, and the kids are with me. And I got to do something. So I find a crowbar and I kind of jimmy the door open, kicked it in, and I got in. The house is dark. And I go into the dining room, put the computer down on the table. My hands get wet. I said, what the heck? I turned the lights on. Something came in our house, went in the freezer, got an ice cream bar, opened it up. It melted all over the table on one side of the table, but the stick was on the other side of the table. Now, let's look at this. If I would have took an ice cream bar out in the morning and opened it up, the stick would still be there.
Right.
It didn't like melt and slide across the other table. There was nothing in between. So I
Right.
thought, oh, what the heck? Yeah. And we left at 7 in the morning. I'm not having an ice cream bar at 7 in the morning. So I get the kids to bed and all that. I go to my bedroom, turn the light on, and I get ready to pull the covers back and my hands get wet again. I said, what the heck?
Yeah.
I'm in my bedroom and pissed on my bed all the way down to the box spring. It was a big pile of it. It was so bad smelling. I couldn't sleep in the bed. I had the bedspread and everything I had to wash.
I'm surprised you didn't burn
I slept on a
everything.
couch. Huh?
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't burn everything. I mean, it's like
I know. No, I didn't. I washed everything twice. Okay, that happened. Now, there's so much weirdness going on here in this land and all that. When I'm home by myself, I don't feel comfortable unless when I go to bed, unless I lock the bedroom door. I do. And
But
in
what's
our
that
bedroom
gonna
door,
do?
yeah, you got those little French glass windows.
Yeah, right.
And when a female dog goes to the bathroom, what do? They squat down.
Right.
They don't lift up.
Right.
And by the bed, there's a hamper. It goes up to my waist. So I threw my clothes on that hamper, and the dog is in the kennel. About must have been 2 or 3 in the morning, I'm guessing. The dog is barking viciously, deep growling and barking bad. I wake up to it, but I can't move. For some reason, I can't move, and my door handle of the bedroom door is going click, click, click. It's turning back and forth.
Right.
But I can't move. I'm froze. And I must have dozed off to sleep or come out of it. I went back to sleep. The next morning, guess what? All my clothes were pissed on again. The same thing.
Your poor washing machine, dude.
Yeah. Okay. There's another one now.
Okay, go for it.
I had the SRA stay here. They wanted to come here and camp out.
Right.
So I had one guy and his son camp on the east, the southeast corner, other couple of guys on the northeast corner, 2 guys in the middle on one of the trails.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole week before that, I would go out in the woods when I did my gifting, and I'd say, hey, I got some friends coming here. They're going to camp out for a couple of days, and I want you to scare the hell out of them. Right. Get them good, but you don't have to hurt them, just scare them good.
Right.
I said that every day. Oh, Friday night, about 2 in the morning, the ones on the southeast corner, and he used to be part of the BFRO, one of the investigators.
Right.
But anyways, him and his kid, about 2 in the morning, something was walking around their tent, big steps like that, and slapping the tent. They were too scared to get on and look. They just sat there in their sleeping bags and not moving.
When it's slap a tent, you're not talking about like a hand rub. You're talking about a smack.
I'm talking about a smack, not like a bear sniffing around.
Sniffing
around
and we see videos of bears doing that because they're because like any animal, like a shark, right? I think we talked about this before. They're not going to attack. They need to know what they're going after. They want to expect it. But to you, they're like, we know what we're doing. We're going to scare the, you know what I mean? Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And then in the morning, about 7 in the morning, the 2 other guys in the other corner, the one guy got up and said to the other guy, did you already eat your breakfast? Mm-hmm. And he said, no, I thought you did. I heard you out there. Something unlatched their cooler, took the lid off, put the lid on the camp table, and went through all their stuff. Okay. That afternoon, I got them back with me. All the guys, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. 7. Right. There's seven of them. And the guy and the kid were behind us. We're back in the state land walking. They're behind us maybe 100 feet.
Right.
And we don't realize they're sensing a bad smell and sensing something by them. I don't realize that. Mm-hmm. But we got 3 ravens circling us. And ravens have something to do with Sasquatch also. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I was telling the other guys, listen here, I can sound like a raven. And I did my little raven squawk. Mm-hmm. And when I did that, there was a Sasquatch by those 2, and they got up and walked off, and they seen it. So when we get back home, my door was locked. I don't leave it unlocked when I'm just gone and nobody's here. Guess what? They came in the house, they opened up the refrigerator, unwrapped a stick of butter, and there was a raw stick of butter on my refrigerator door.
Was so okay. Did they eat it and they like it, or just like they just took the stick of butter saying, "Take that, Randy"?
Exactly right. Take that, Randy. Yeah, they opened up when you buy a pound of butter, it comes in
Yeah.
4 sticks. They took one of the sticks out, paper on the table, and the stick of butter was on my refrigerator door.
You know what pissed me off?
Stuck there.
You pissed me off because I have a bad habit of smoking. If they took my cigarettes and start smoking them all, like, you rat little turds, man.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another thing that I've noticed. When I'll let somebody come here and they bring like a gift or any of that kind of stuff, it never gets touched. Only stuff that I bring out there gets touched. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing I can teach people.
Sure.
Well, the ones here, they don't like things with eyes. I'm talking about like a stuffed animal.
You mentioned that. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Because one time I put a stuffed animal little stuffed bear toy thing out there by my gifting area in the land here, and all of my activity stopped. And it stopped for about a week. And I think, what the heck? What's going on here? What's different? And I thought about that stuffed bear. That's what's different. I took it out of there. It all started right away. Then I brought a chalk eraser board thing out there, dry marker thing. And I drew a stick man with eyes. And I said, an arrow, this is Randy. And I said, can you write your name? All my activity stopped again. It all stopped for a few days. And the only thing that was different was that stick man. So I erased it out of there. It all started again.
So you talked about them smashing a cross like item, or like, he made a cross. They don't like eyes. I know you don't like giving opinions.
Yep.
But you had to ask thoughts, man. I mean, would they ever mind speak about that, or they kept it silent, or just
kept it silent? That's just what I noticed when I did something with eyes. They didn't mind speaking to me on that.
Okay. So and that's an interesting thing. I'm wondering why, and I know we talked a bit before that, and maybe we'll talk about it again. But I want to still keep things fresh. But nothing. But so far, you don't know. You haven't came to your own conclusions. Possibly why?
No, I have not. No,
because those are two interesting things.
Especially when they tell me what they are and what I know what they are now. So I don't know why that would bother them.
Okay, and I know we're gonna go more into that, but I just wanted to kind of. I guess that's more of like putting a picture of an investigation board and putting like a red string on it. We'll come back to it, type of thing, and tie that hopefully together. But anyways, I want to at least put that out. But anyways, go ahead, continue on.
Okay, now when they kill deer, they pull the hair out, and I have lots of pictures of deer being killed, and just that the hair is plucked out and there's nothing there. Between my van life, I work up on Lake of the Woods, 40 miles across the lake on Oak Island in the northwest angle. So there's lots of wolves up there, timber wolves. They're not coyotes. There's lots of wolves.
And they're pretty big,
and
aren't they?
I've seen a lot of deer kills by wolves up there.
Yeah.
And so when I even come across at 5 a.m. driving a bomb of deer out there getting fish houses ready, a pack of wolves killing a deer. They rip the stomach open and there's a big mess. There's bones all over. After a couple of days, there's bones all over. The hide is there. It's just a terrible, awful looking mess. That's wolves.
And well, that makes sense too, because they always go for more like the orifice areas, the softer areas, because that's easier to get to the meat compared to something that's hard like the back or anything like that. That's what I understand about like with that, like hunting from the animals. But anyways,
yeah. Anyways, when a Sasquatch gets a deer, they pluck the hair out and the whole body's gone. There's nothing. And this is overnight.
Wow.
Sometimes it's 2 or 3 deer been freshly killed and there's nothing there. And I have pictures of that. It looks like sheep wool. I think I sent you some of them, didn't I?
Oh, you did, and I don't forget that. Remember that She Squatch music video that I told you I watched.
Yeah.
And I think I saw a video where it talked all the skulls he had lined up.
Oh yeah, I'll get into that too.
Yeah. Okay. But I thought that was crazy, man. Anyways, but and excuse the term, reminded me of the movie Predator. It's like all these skulls lined up. It's clean and everything. But anyways,
yeah. Okay. I've seen them come out of a portal, and I've had people with me that have seen the same thing, so it ain't just me telling the story. Me and John, one of the SRA guys, was back in one of my deer stands, and he brought a brand new camera. I never said I wasn't going to do cameras out there. So he brought a brand new camera, new SD card, new lithium batteries in it. In my original gifting area, you put the camera up. I put some apples down in a jar of peanut butter. We made sure the camera took a picture of us for the timestamp. We go, and this is about 30 yards from the deer stand, and we're still all in the woods. So he crawls up in my deer stand, and it ain't made for two people, just one I made again. And so he's sitting on the chair, and I'm having to stand. And about 11 o'clock, it's so dark out that I can't even see John when my shoulder's touching his shoulder. That's how close we are.
Right.
And I see this doorway thing. It ain't like one of our doorways. It's like 3 times as big as our doorways and taller.
Right.
And I'm looking at it, and it looks like the Northern Lights. It's kind of yellowish, bluish, greenish, whitish, reddish. It's kind of shimmering like.
Right.
And I take my glasses off, rub my eyes. I'm saying, am I seeing that? Yeah, I'm seeing it. Put my glasses back on, and I whisper, John, you see that? He says, yeah, he's watching it too. All of a sudden, 2 big orangey looking orb, round circles come out of that thing. But here's the thing, they're walking. But the top of them is like an orange ball. They're walking. We can hear the leaves crunching on each step. And there's 2 of them.
Right.
And they go over to that, where that apples and that camera and stuff were. And maybe a minute later, they come back. The first one is not in that orb form. I see the cone head, the red eyes, the shoulders, the arms swinging back and forth. And we can hear the leaves crunching again. The second one is in orb form. They go to that doorway looking thing, go into it, and gone. There's no more. We wait in the stand for a little bit.
Yeah.
We're kind of excited. Well, we get down, and the peanut butter is gone, the apples are gone. When the batteries are drained dry on the camera, and when we get the SD card back home, there's no pictures of us setting the camera up. There's no pictures of nothing. It's wiped clean. Nothing.
Couple of thoughts.
Yep.
How fast did that happen? Like that
they were walking normal, probably a 4-minute span.
Now when it was a 4-minute span, and I'm using a time thing here, do you think it was fast for you but slow for them to do what they did? Does that make sense?
I don't.
Or is that kind of all in the same? Like
it's all in the same. I think it was just normal. They were just walking normal.
In regards to the orbs, because I'm gonna make sure I got this right. So you saw these orbs, were there orbs and expanded to like their presence, or was it expanded to a portal and they walked through it? Type of thing when you mentioned the orbs.
The orbs come out of that doorway looking thing, and they were Sasquatch walking.
Interesting. Okay, the reason I was asking that is because something I didn't mention to you. Well, I didn't mention until I didn't mention it because I had my group last week with Kingston UFO group, and I have somebody with me who has orb pictures all the time, and she had one of Bigfoot, and this is local regarding orb.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and that. But anyways, I just want to ask and see what the connection is. But orbs and Sasquatch are connected with where she's at, but she has the same thing. What you're talking about is the intent. She talks outside, does everything, and she does. And I mentioned to you, she's never. It's like, oh, I've heard of him, but I just thought that's interesting that there's a type of connection where there's orbs and Bigfoot regarding like the interdimensional potential thing that's happening, right? And the intent. But anyway, sorry,
Yep.
I didn't mean to.
Well, if you go on my Randy's Bigfoot research page, and you look at my little picture headline there, you'll see that black thing there. That is a Sasquatch. That was a 2-second video, and I did a screenshot of it. You see the arm poking out, and behind it, you see an orb.
Okay, I'm gonna have to send that to her. And by the way, I did see some of those photos to her, and she thought they were freaking amazing.
Yeah. Okay, I got something else to tell you.
Yeah.
Doug Hychek, 2 years ago, he talked me into it. I was not going to do it. They put 8, not trail cameras. They put 8 security cameras out in the woods behind the house here, and they run 1,000 feet of extension cord from my house and 1,000 feet of Wi-Fi cable from my house.
Boy, they're really invested.
Yeah, I know it. And if you're part of the project, you can look at them 24 hours a day. They're all different areas there, and I have lots of orbs. You can't imagine how many orbs I got, and I got orbs coming out of the ground, going into the ground, swirling around. I have lots of orbs.
Do you think you might also be on some type? And forgive me if I asked this question before when we first interviewed. Have you studied any history regarding your grounds, even the grounds behind that are government owned or like past state owned? that might be Native American, any history behind that, any of that type of stuff? Because like you said, a lot of these ores are going on. So
Yeah. Wait, I need to go to the county records there
yeah,
because I guess you can just do it and go back as far as I can go and see what used to be here, and I haven't done it yet. I need to do it.
but it's interesting, right? It's interesting,
Yeah.
and it's funny. I actually talked to a little side note too. I talked to one of these people, one of the people here local who are natives, because where I'm at in Washington, and I'm sure we're at Minnesota. I live right next to a res location, right? There's a casino 5 minutes away. There you go. So and I'm still trying to find some people. They talk, and it's so I guess the Sasquatch phenomenon is so close by that no one talks about it. They're saying they're like, this pretty much right behind your yard, which is interesting. And they talked about what do people call them? Was it Indians? Was it skin red
Skinwalker? No.
not skinwalker. It's oh my god, something like tall walker. Oh my god, I feel stupid. But anyways, but the history is really rich here too as well. But anyways, I need to do my history on it too. I was just wanting to kind of share that the natives here are really huge about it.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. We live between two reservations: Leech Lake Reservation, Red Lake Reservation. I'm an open book, so I don't care. I'll just say the town I live by.
Right.
Black Duck.
And have you talked to
Black Duck Lake is named after Black Duck Indian chief.
And have you ever talked to any of the natives around that regarding your
Oh
experience?
yes, I've had a medicine man come here, and
Yeah.
he don't want to come here. He don't want. He's uncomfortable coming here.
Wow.
I've had a couple other native guys come here. One guy wanted to come back by him a little fire ring. He'd been here before, and we were already back there, and he started walking back. He got scared. He went back to his vehicle, drove back into Black Duck in the town there, and called me so I could come to my house there, and he'd drive back and meet me so I could meet him and walk him back.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it. I don't know what he got scared of, but there's a lot of weirdness here.
You think? Yeah. Oh, the term stick Indian. That's what one of these guys called them, stick Indians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, meaning they're tall, but they're like tall Indians, but they're Sasquatch. That's another term that's here that I talked to another guy who had a Sasquatch experience. But anyways, sorry, I'm totally off tangent here. But anyways, continue on. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead and continue on regarding the cable, the video cameras they had, the 1,000 foot line that you
Yeah.
had.
Well, yeah. So, but anyways, I got tired of them being there. Oh, anyways, the first night they were there, Doug Heydrich seen 3 of them. He was so excited they got down. He said he had tears in his eyes, but they weren't set up to the iCloud yet. But he had 3 of them go through like a family. There's families here, I guess.
Right.
We'll get into that too.
Right.
But I got tired of the cameras being there because that's what my thing was, no cameras. So I had them take them out,
right,
which they weren't that happy about. But I got something to tell you.
Yeah.
When I had those cameras taken out there and I finally wrapped up the extension cord and the Wi-Fi cable and all that stuff.
Right.
It's like the woods. I can't even explain it. I'll try to explain it. It's like the woods came back to peace again. I don't know how else to say it. I could just sense it.
Like harmony.
Oh, like harmony. There you go. It's like the woods came back to harmony again. I could just sense it. I was telling Tanner. Yeah. Can you feel that? It's like the woods is back at peace again or at harmony again. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think it's like you have this relationship that you built so strongly with not just the Sasquatch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nature itself. And like everything's tied one way or the other. And sometimes like in any relationship, and we're not all perfect, right? And I'm not right. It's not about right or wrong. I want to stay away from that whole term right and wrong. And I say that because I'm a Catholic. Everything we do is right and wrong. But
yeah.
But we try to. But it's like but at times we choose things that sometimes we don't know if it's appropriate or inappropriate. And then when we make those choices, that's when we learn. It's not about making mistakes. It's finding those boundaries. And I think when you did that. And again, tell me if I'm wrong. When you're like, okay, let's give it a shot. I'm not too happy about it. We'll see what happens. And then you're kind of like, you know what? I'm not too happy about it. We got to cut this out. You came up with that end of it. Was like, you know what? This ain't right, or this ain't appropriate. I want to go back to what it needs to be. And there's that reciprocated respect saying, hey, you know what? Thanks, Randy. We appreciate that.
That's exactly how. That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah,
exactly I hope how I felt.
I hope that makes sense. Where it's like it
does
right or wrong. It's like. you try and test your boundaries, and boundaries are going to get stretched. But it's all about, even if it stretches where it hurts a bit, to like, okay, my bad. Just like with the experience with the Bigfoot with the trailer, right? Hey guys,
Yep.
cut it. And you know what they did? Hey Randy, we're testing our boundaries. And you know what? You did the same way. I think that's really cool. That, to me, that's a
Yep.
relationship.
Okay, I'm going to tell you another thing.
Yeah.
Another thing how they listen to me. I know for a fact.
Mhm.
Okay, they like venison. I know that's true.
And I've
So I
never
brought
had
out
it, by
some.
the way.
Well, you come here and I'll give you some fresh
All right,
venison.
right.
But anyways, I brought two cameras on the woods on the state land.
Mhm.
I brought some freezer burnt venison, been in the freezer too long,
Mhm.
and some peanut butter and some apples. Okay,
Mhm.
you got to picture this now. I put the stuff in the middle. I put a camera in front of that stuff, facing that stuff, and I put a camera on the other side, facing that stuff.
Mhm.
So both cameras were facing each other. They were facing that food. And I said, here's what I said. Now, like I said, I always say you guys, or whether they're male or female. I said, okay, you guys, here's what I want you to do. On this first camera, I want you to make it not work, but keep the batteries good and the SD card good. I never wanted to ever work again, and I want you to twist it, turn it on the tree.
Mhm.
And then I want pictures of deer, bear, and ravens going through by this food here.
Right.
And then on the second camera, I want that pictures of deer, bear, and ravens going through there. I want still the picture when I set it up. And when I come back, I want a picture of me, but do your magic. Take all this food, and I don't want no picture of you doing it. None.
Right.
So I waited a couple days. I go back there. Guess what? The first camera does not work to this day, but the batteries are good. SD card was good, and they twisted it on the tree exactly like I asked for. Then on the other camera was good when I got the SD card back home, and all the food was gone. There was pictures of deer, bear, and ravens going through there in that order, like I asked for.
Right.
There was a picture of me when I set the camera up. There was no picture of them taking the food, and there was a picture of me when I went back to get the camera. Exactly what I asked for, to a T.
And you know what's awesome about that? And I just had this thought, just because I remember we talked about this before, is where you're respecting them with the camera and the exploitation, but also
Yep.
proving their existence. And it's like, hey, Randy, we appreciate you working with us. You know what? We're going to show we're still around, so it's still here, and we're doing it because you're finding ways to communicate, to work with us, communicate. It's like any relationship, right? You have to compromise every time. It's like, hey, I want to show and prove this and state this. Well, we don't want to show ourselves. Okay, at least do this. We can work with that. It's like any relationship. It's compromise. My God, it's better than our government compromise with Democrats and Republicans. But anyways,
Yeah.
but that's cool though. That is really cool though. I love the creativity behind it. Well, and that bless, yeah.
Now, I'll give you some of my mind speaks.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. They do gift me. They gift me Y sticks, little branches and Ys, and I know it's them. Of course, there's dead Y sticks out in the woods. I don't pick them up. Because they'll be on my deck of my house. They'll be on one of my deer stands. I'll walk in the woods on a deer trail, come back the same way, and there's one right there. It wasn't there before. There's no storm or nothing.
Right.
So I got maybe 12 of them. I got them out on one of my snowmobile trailers just displayed there. But I've got 40 some deer skulls they've given to me. Now, if you're not deer hunters, I'm going to explain something to you. When a buck in February or so, they'd lose their antlers. They drop down on the ground, and porcupines, raccoons, squirrels, they eat on them. They chew on them. That's calcium and protein for them. Sometimes they eat the whole things all up. They're gone. You can't find deer at sheds hardly in the woods. It's hard to find them.
Right.
All my deer skulls are in perfect condition. There is not a chew mark on them. Zero. Some of them are older. I got 8-point bucks, 6-pointers, fawns. I got spike bucks. I got little teeny bucks that are just starting to get horns. I got beaver skull that was put on one of my deer stands, and they're in perfect condition. And people ask me that, and I used to say, well, that's because Sasquatch got their smell on them, and nobody will touch them. No animals will touch them. Well, that's not true. Now, here's where I'm going to get into the stuff that explains about Sasquatch.
Okay, go
I'm
for
going to
it.
give you two things.
Go for it.
Those deer skulls were never laying in the woods. They were never laying there. If they would have been laying in the woods, they would have been chewed on, and they're not. The other day, well, it was in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
After I did my gifting, instead of coming back to the power line and walking down to the house, I'm just going to walk through the woods, just go back a different way, just something different, you know.
Right.
So I did that. All of a sudden, it popped in my head, clear as a bell. I wasn't even thinking of those deer skulls. I wasn't even not thinking about it at all. Those deer skulls were never laying in the woods. Those deer skulls are brought to where Sasquatch is interdimensional.
Yes,
That is a fact.
That's what I was thinking of. You mentioned about that. So continue what you think they did with them. When do you think?
It's not even thinking. They told me this.
Okay, go for it.
They are interdimensional. When they kill a deer, they do not sit there and eat that deer like wolves and cougars do and whatever else kills a deer.
Right.
They take them to where we don't know how to go.
Gotcha.
And they're bringing them skulls back to me as a gift. That's what's happening. I had another mind speak let's see now. It must have been like 3 or 4 weeks ago now. I had another mind speak because I'm asking them all the time, can you explain to me what's going on? Will you let me know what you are? And I had another mind speak. It's perfect. It was perfect. They are interdimensional. They don't live on Earth. They don't live in caves. They don't go to the cedar swamps and the tamarack swamps when it's 40 below out in Minnesota or Alaska or whatever. They don't live there. They come to Earth all the time. They go to caves. They go to cedar swamps. They do all that, but they don't live here. They're in another dimension where we don't know how to go. And that's what they've told me so far.
So let me ask you this question. And I know you gave me the answer before, but I'm going to ask it for the audience.
Yep.
Is it technology they cross over, or is it more biological?
That I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell you that. You got to think of it this way. I have pictures of tracks that start in the snow and they just end. Well, how does that happen? Last year, I got a picture. There's a 5-strand barbed wire fence behind the house.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a track that started, big one. It was 16 inches long. And it stepped over the fence about 6 feet from the fence. It stepped over the fence. And with the fence is 5-foot strand.
Right.
Oh, now that's a big animal to do that.
Right.
It stepped over the fence from the one track right by the barbed wire fence. It stepped over 6 feet later, and then another track, and gone. Right. Just like that. You know why? Because they told me this. Because they popped into our dimension and they pop out.
So here's another question for you, and I just thought about this after our interview. Do you think we're the only dimension they cross over to visit, or to explore? Do you think there's other dimensions they might be able to cross over for, like, their food and hunting and whatever they do? What do you think about that? Because science talks about how supposedly, and this is actually a fact, the D wave in CERN, I talked about this in the last video, that there's supposed to be supposedly it's a big universe. There's multi dimensions, multi things. What's your thoughts on that?
I think, like his opinion again, I think there's multi dimensions. No, I'm not going to mention names, or maybe I should. What's really irritating me is the Hollywood people that are doing these conferences that are getting their $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to talk about Sasquatch, like professor from Utah or Idaho. He's really good on tracks. Or some of those Finding Bigfoot people. How can they be an authority on Bigfoot when they never have seen one?
Right.
They can't be.
Right.
It'd be like me talking about your house right now, or where you work at, and be an authority on it. I never seen it.
Well, no, exactly. How do you explore something that you haven't touched, or like it doesn't make sense. It's like me trying to tell you the life of a shark or a bear when I don't have that experience. I never touched it, never experienced it, never interacted with it, type of thing. And you who've had a lot of experience interacting, and still have a lot more questions than answers. It seems like
right.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to give. I want to teach the world about what they are, and I'm willing to do it. I'm not getting no money for it. And I'm giving the real truth on them. These guys that are saying, "Oh, okay, Sasquatch did not cross the Bering Land Bridge, whatever you call it. They didn't cross that."
Right. Right.
And here's another thing:
they're not
the one guy.
yeah.
But sorry,
Oh
well,
no,
the one guy that's really good on tracks. He's good in tracks, knowing what tracks are and he's saying, well, a gorilla is this weight. Now, if a Sasquatch is 900 pounds, they need this many calories to survive. Well, how does he know that? Maybe they don't need any calories to survive.
Well, we don't
know that.
We don't know. There's bears, black bears, brown bears, bigger than us that are omnivores.
Yeah, exactly.
They live off berries and so forth and all that stuff. It's not always meat, so we don't know. You know what I mean? Like we don't know.
So,
we don't know their diets. We don't know what.
Right. So yeah, exactly right. So what that guy should say, he says, if they are meat eaters, they would need this many calories to survive. If they are a giant ape undiscovered, they would need this. But he's not saying it that way. He's saying it like he knows it. He does not know. And now I like those guys I'm talking about because I've met them, sat and talked with them. I've never told them. I've never sat there. I'm not going to have an argument about Sasquatch with somebody.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, I sure could. I could be a good debater.
Right. But that makes sense though too. It's we don't know the biology of Sasquatch, and honestly too and even knowing us as a human species, like like for example, if I was to diet, right, and you know how that like there's the calorie is like 2,000 a day and so forth. But a person who's like, okay, I'm gonna lose weight and I'm gonna do 1,000 to 800 calories a day, and I'm gonna lose weight that way. Guess what the body does? It has what's called homeostasis. If you're not eating enough, the body slowly burns the calories than it does speed it up. Right? It's like because it's trying to survive. And
because it goes into starvation mode, so it keeps the food you're eating instead of burning it off.
Exactly. So what's to say that Sasquatch can't do the same thing? And I'm not saying it's the same human biology, but it's like how are we to say that? You know what I mean? And the genetics are completely different than us too. Again, it's like for example, my family, right? I'm 230 pounds. Now, people say you don't look 230, you look like you're 210, 200. I had one person say you look 180. Well, that's just genetics. So we don't understand the genetics of Sasquatch. You know what I mean? We don't understand we don't understand that. And one thing I remember a teacher taught me back in high school. I love my teacher named Michael Kahn, Mr. Kahn. He's a big Star Trek guy. And he says, life fights hard to survive. It does, and it always finds a way. How are we not to say that their biology that like they you have to have this food and this and to survive and so forth? No, that's not true. How many people have we studied in history who have survived off starvation? I mean, the body will always find a way to survive. And to me, Sasquatch is no different, even probably better, more sophisticated than in the biology than we are. Possibly, maybe, I don't know, but I'm just saying we don't know.
We don't know. And now here's another one. This year, people say, "Why don't you sit in your deer stands at night?" Here's why I don't. I'm kind of contradicting myself, but I'm not scared of them. But to sit there all night long by myself, and I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I don't know that yet.
Right.
So that's why I don't feel comfortable doing it.
Right.
Here's another thing. If I do that all night long, I mean, I could do it. I can only see where a flashlight goes, or they can see wherever they want to see. So if I hear a big old crack in the woods, it could be a deer or a bear walking through. I don't know. So that's kind of unnerving a little bit.
Right. And too, and that's respectful too. I mean, because it's not just Sasquatch. There's other animals out there, and you got to think about your your safety too, type of thing. Now here's another question I have to ask you. What would you say the color they look like? Are they come in different colors? Like
they come in different colors. So I've seen a red one, cinnamon colored red one. I've seen, and the black one. That's the two I've seen.
What's the most
two colors I've seen?
What's the most popular one, or most one you would see color wise?
Black.
Okay, I kind of figured that too.
But
I
got red hair. I've got red hair that's 14 inches long. I have 30 envelopes of hair. And I know deer hair and I know bear hair. I got a bear rug on my wall. I got deer mounts on my deal. I don't pick up deer hair or bear hair.
Right. Right. And you can tell the difference, especially being a
You
hunter.
can tell the difference. Yeah, and I
Right.
have some hair that's being DNA'd right now for a show.
Well, oh, really? What show is that one? I mean, you don't have to tell me if you want to keep it,
I ain't knowing if I'm supposed to, so I will on your when I call you.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And so it's the reason I asked that is because I had an interview with another guy who's local in Washington, more east side, and just a short story. I'm gonna have him tell a story next week. That his experience was years ago, and he's like a over 6 foot tall guy, and he worked as a logger, which I'm sure is not shocking for loggers. So see
Yeah.
Sasquatches are out there. And he
Yep.
talked about how he went hunting for food because him and his girlfriend were living out in the woods a bit in a tent, and he went out and he thought because he's hunting, he thought he saw this deer. And he's like, "My God, that is one red deer buck." And then when he stood up, he's like, "That is not a deer." And he said, and it's funny, he's telling me the story. He's like, right now, he's like, I still have hair standing on top of my head. He's like, and I'm a big guy. He's like, I'm a bouncer, right? I
Mm-hmm.
also bounce for. It's funny. Excuse me. He bounces for shows. Like he's done bouncing for like security for Dave Matthews and all that stuff, which I thought was kind of funny because being us musicians. And he says, I'm
Yep.
not afraid of anybody. He's like, that still scares me to stay. He says that the growl that he heard was so crazy that it paralyzed him.
Sure.
It paralyzed him. But he said, but the funny thing was that animal came out and it came out to him. And he was able to kill it and eat it. And I told him, I was like, maybe he just gifted you knew that you need to eat because he was out looking for food. And it's a possibility. But he said that it disappeared. He said it walked off and it just disappeared. And I thought that was cool. And I told him a little bit about just briefly about your story. So I thought I wanted to share that too. That
Yep.
that same experience regarding that vibration of the growling thing. He says it stopped him. He says he couldn't move, he couldn't see straight, he couldn't do anything. He says, and
Yeah. Here's the thing about my place.
yeah,
It's ongoing all the time. It ain't like something happened 10 years ago. It's ongoing all the time. They're here all the time.
mm,
But I have a habitual place here.
right,
Yeah, I know. I'm going to tell you another thing.
yeah,
This year, I decided to go sit in a deer stand, but it's by my gifting area where I do my peanut butter and all that. And I crawled
right,
up there,
yep,
and I got plywood around it. The plywood is 9.5 feet up at the top
right,
of it. I got
right,
a chair in there, and my head pokes out. And I'm sitting there, and I said, "Okay, you guys, I'm going to sit here. I want you to come to me so we can communicate, or you can teach me some things, or whatever you want to do." I said that.
right,
So I'm sitting there for 20 minutes, half hour, whatever.
right,
And all of a sudden, I get overwhelmed with being dizzy, and my eyes go out of focus. And I said, "What the heck?"
right,
I put my hands on my chin and my elbows down on my legs and put my head down. I sat there for a while like that.
mm-hmm,
I get up and look around. Oh God, I'm still dizzy. I go down again. All
mm-hmm,
of a sudden, there was a step in the leaves right by the stand. I look up. There's a Sasquatch. I could have poked its cheek. We look at each other. It takes another step. I turn my head, look at it again. I get half its head and back of its head, and then it's gone. It disappeared. Boom, just like that.
wow,
Now, last December,
like just a
go
vanish,
ahead.
just like a vanish,
It
like
disappeared into thin air.
wow, okay, gotcha, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another time, I'm in this last December. I'm walking on the power line. I see the and our power line poles 10 feet up. There's a black plastic wrap so that raccoons, squirrels can't crawl past that and chew on the wires. I'm walking. I get almost down to where I got to go in the woods to do my gifting, and down on the other 40 acres, there's a Sasquatch standing there. It is even with that black plastic wrap. It's 10 foot. We're looking at each other. I'm about 100 yards from it. I decided, well, I'm going to get my phone out and I'm going to videotape it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to do that, but I'm not taking my eyes off of it.
Right.
And when I got home, on the videotape, all I got was the grass and the snow. There was, grass poking up.
Right.
And guess what it did?
What?
It didn't walk off. It disappeared, plop, just like that. Popped out of my reality.
Wow.
However you want to say it. Yep. And then another time,
yeah.
I'm walking down there, and I have the kids with me. Terry had to go up to his daughters and help paint. She said, "Don't take those kids out to the woods." Bristol, it was 11. Madison was 6.
Right.
And I'm sitting in the house there getting kind of bored. I said, girls, let's just walk down the high line because
Right.
we live by the power line corridor. And I get out of the house there and oh, I forgot my phone. I don't need no phone.
Yeah.
So we're walking down. We get like 200 yards, and I see in that same by that same pole,
Mhm.
I see this big, massive black thing, and I don't know. I wasn't thinking right. I don't remember a tree down there. Well, of course, there's no trees down there. That our land was cleared years ago.
Mhm.
We get closer, and the girls are kind of playing behind me, not real close.
Mhm.
And it is a Sasquatch. We're looking at each other again. And maybe it's the same one. It's the big black one. I turn around. Girls, get up by me right now.
Mhm.
And I turn around, the thing is gone. I didn't know that Bristol was watching it too. She
Right.
says, Grandpa, I just seen a tall, hairy giant walk in the woods. She's seen it walk in the woods. That one didn't disappear.
Wow.
Well, it didn't disappear right there, anyways.
Is that the one that you sent me regarding the drawing? Is that the same one or no?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
when we got home, I never really talked about Sasquatch to the girls or nothing like
Right.
that, but their mother had seen one, so they know about it and all that.
Right.
I said, Bristol, shut your eyes and imagine what you've seen and draw it. She says, I can't draw. I said, just draw what you've seen. And that's what she drew.
And you're not getting
Notice the long arms.
and that was a smart way to do it because you're not planting things. Was it? Did it look like this or like that? You're like, hey, just draw it.
Just draw it. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I said, how did it walk? She has never heard about no Patterson Gimlin film. And that's how she walked with the arms swinging back and forth.
You know what? That leads to my next question. The
Yep.
Patterson Gimlin film, real or fake?
Real.
Why? Just curious.
Because what it
I
looks
think
like
it's
is
real.
what I've seen.
Really? Okay. I
And
think it's real too, but I was just curious because you hear different theories, but that thing looked way too detailed, especially with technology, how to slow the camera control down. Like you
yep.
see details and everything. But okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then again, who am I to say it's not real?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who am
Right.
I to say it's not real?
Right. So
Because my stuff is real. I'm not making nothing up. And a lot of people would say, well, that guy, what kind of drugs is that guy on? I know that what people say that. Here's another thing I
yeah.
want to say. I'm a knower. There's a lot of people out there like me that know what these Sasquatches really are, but they won't say nothing because they're too scared they're going to be made fun of.
So what are
Well,
they?
that's not me. I'm not make fun of me because the truth is the truth.
No, I'm not gonna make fun. Honestly, I can make fun of a
What?
lot of I make fun of people who try to how do you say it? Try to
Bullshit you.
yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Like people pleasers, right? And I and,
Yeah.
and I make fun of myself because I've always been like a people pleaser myself. You can tell I'm a talker. I'm a guy who's extra personality, but it's taken me years
Yep.
to break those barriers down to not worry about what people think because hey, I don't have time for it anymore. So to me, it's like I like people who are more genuine to stick to their guns and beliefs. It's like that old Bible thing. It's like either hot or cold, not lukewarm. I don't want to be lukewarm anymore. So so in adapt into that, tell me what do you know? What do you're saying knower? You tell me. Share it on, man. No judgment here. This platform is for you to share it. Go for it.
No, yeah. When I meant knower, I didn't mean you. I know
Yeah.
you won't, but there's a
Oh
lot of
no,
people
no,
would.
no.
Okay.
Oh no, I know you're not that. I'm me. This is me being my Catholic self saying what it is for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're
So
good. Yeah, go for it.
a few years ago, we got a trailer house in our yard there,
Uh-huh.
and it's for the band guys. When we come back off the road, we might be home for a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got to go again. And I'm not doing that road stuff anymore.
Okay.
I'm home all the time except for my sound company. I'll go for a weekend. But anyways, Chris, he was from South Dakota, and the guitar player. He would never go to bed. He had typical musicians stay up until 4 or 5 in the morning. He was sitting out on a picnic table about 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And when I see him the next morning, he said, "Randy, I'll never set out outside here again."
Mm-hmm.
Something walked through your yard. It was massive. It had red eyes, a cone-shaped head there, and it was sounding like the Tasmanian devil. And that's how he explained it. And he was scared. And I thought he was just making that up because of the stuff's going on here, making fun of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we come home. Those guys are gone. About a month later, it's in the summertime. We got our window open, and we woke up to 2 of them. And I didn't know nothing about no Sierra sounds at the time, but they were kind of, and our yard light was not working. So they're going through our yard, going towards the river. They're going like this. Something like that. 2 of them talking.
I've heard that.
We're looking out the window.
I've heard that before, by the way. I've heard that before in videos. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
Whole different language.
So
Crazy.
I call the SRA, talk to the head guy, and he says, Randy, go to the Sierra Sounds, Ron Moorhead. Is that what you heard? To a T. To a T is what we heard. The same thing.
Wow.
I know
and, And it's quick. It's quick.
Yeah.
It's like a quick.
Yep.
It's like I don't know if it's their own language or what, but it's so quick and it's just like totally out of nowhere. Like
it's their language because Sasquatch is a people.
Yeah.
They're not an ape, or they're not some undiscovered ape that would come in like giant Pithecus, whatever you can say that. They're not that. They are not that.
Right. So can you describe what their facial looks like? I'm really curious about that.
Like a human looking face,
right.
A cone looking head, a high eyebrows, a regular nose, not too flat, not like a gorilla.
Yeah.
Broad shoulders, like the Hulk. You know, the cartoon.
Okay.
The Hulk,
thank you.
That massive, but way taller.
And hairier.
And hairier, yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you something funny.
Yeah.
I'll say it without saying it.
All right, go for it.
I had a camera on one of the power line poles when I was doing cameras, and it was facing the power transformer, and I had an apple on there. And I do have the picture, and I could be totally wrong.
Okay.
But anyways, a bear comes out, and it looks at the power transformer, it looks at the apple, and it walks away a little bit, it comes back to the apple, walks away again, and comes back to the apple, puts the apple in his mouth, and he's facing west. All of a sudden, it turns and faces north, and I got a picture of something hanging down. And it looks like a man, it looks like a guy's thing. And it's big. Yeah, I'm serious. I don't know what, but I saved the picture. I don't know. I'll have to send it to you. It's on my old computer, so I got to figure out how to get it off there.
Bigfoot's Bigfoot.
Yeah, because I'm telling you what, why did it stop what it's doing and turn to look north? Because the camera took a picture of that. That couldn't have been no bug or nothing. Why? Bug is not going to set the camera off like that. And if it is a bug, the bear's not going to turn and hear a bug fly by the camera.
Right. Jeez.
No, I could be wrong on that, but that's what it looks like to me.
Hey, man. Truth is stranger than fiction. What we talking about, dude? And you know what? I'm sure if I saw that, I'd be like, yeah, I feel less of a man now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't know if I can tell this on your show. I mean, I can tell it, but I don't know if it'll come across right.
Sure.
Me and 4 other guys were back in that state land again. And there's one native guy that comes there and he really feels uncomfortable in this one area.
Okay.
And that's the same area where I did the meet and the cameras and they listened to me and all that. Same area.
Okay.
And there's a massive teepee there. That's a really good one.
Okay.
Anyways, we're walking. They want me to take them across the river, across the beaver dam to get to that cedar swamp area because those guys have never been over there.
Right.
So we're walking way past the teepee. We come around, we get to that teepee. And Mike, the book writer, I'll tell you about later. Mike, the book writer, says, "Oh man, look at that teepee." And I said, "Mike, that teepee's in your book. You know that one." He goes, and about 25, 30 yards to the south is the fence line. And you can see it real good from where we're taking a break. And then to the west, there's a bunch of pine trees. You can see them really good too. They're close. We're taking a break. Yeah, they want to go. So I have lots of energy. So we get walking.
No doubt, dude. No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, even at 64, not too many people can keep up with me, and I'm not racing. I just got lots of energy. But anyway,
man, trust me, if I was drumming in your band, I'd be like, dude, Randy, slow it down, bro. You're faster than the drummer right now. No, it's
but anyways, I get about 50 yards and I come across these 2 square holes, rectangular. They're about 8-9 inches deep, about a foot wide, and about 8 inches, about a foot long, and 8 inches wide and a foot long.
Right.
So I'm looking at them. There's 2 of them. It's not nowhere, no root base. A tree fell over. They just kind of look weird. I get the leaves out of them. I look at them. Well, I don't know, nothing, I guess. So I get up and I take off walking. I'm good 200 yards away from those guys. And I say, "Oh my God, you guys got to get up here. There's a massive teepee. I've never seen it before." And I know those woods good. I could walk around in there in the dark.
Right.
And they get up to me. Oh my God, they're amazed by it too. Now remember this. You got to remember the original teepee fence line pine trees.
Right.
And you can see the fence line by the pine trees too.
Right.
And where we're at, we can't see none of that stuff because we're too far in the woods now. And Mike, the book writer, he's inside the teepee. We're taking video of it and pictures, and we're all excited about it because it's a really good one.
Right.
And so I asked them, "You sure you guys want to go?" Because it's getting like 4:30 or so.
Right.
And now they say, "Oh, we better get back." Because I said, once we get across that beaver dam, which is not really easy, we'll be walking back in the dark.
Right.
So they say, "No, let's go back home."
Right.
So we got to walk quite a ways. We're like 250 yards away from that fence line and stuff. So we turn around, we walk south. Remember, there's snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We walk south, we get to the fence line, we head west there, and we get home. We're about 3 miles away from my house.
Mm-hmm.
We get home there. Those guys get in their cars, they're all gone. I'm looking at the pictures, and guess what?
What?
We were not at no new teepee. We were at the original teepee because in my video I can see the pine trees in the fence line.
And
we were at the original teepee.
And you thought you're in a new area, but it was the same.
We thought we were in a new area. I go back the next day, guess what? Our tracks went north. They never circled around and walked back to that original teepee.
I'm telling you, man, we talked about this before. The whole potential part of the whole David
Pilates, yeah.
Thing, the missing 401, except you're not missing, thank God.
We're not missing.
But I'm curious that there's a connection because the woods, besides the Sasquatch phenomenon, there was something in the woods. I'm just wondering.
Right. I can't put my finger on what they did to us. I can't explain it. But then after I've been thinking about that, there has been times I've been back in that same area, and all of a sudden I don't know where I'm at. I get a panicky feeling in my stomach. In fact, I got to get my compass out to make sure that I'm going to go, because I know I have to go south. I want to get out to that, or I got to go west.
Well, right. I remember when I went to I was a few months back. I'm close to Port Gamble, which, by the way, Port Gamble is one of the most haunted small towns in America.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I went on a trail out there, and they have a trail. But me, I'm an idiot. I always go off trail because that's me. Because I like to go.
That's me too. Yep.
Yeah, I like to go off trail. And by the way, later on, maybe tonight or tomorrow, I'll send you some photos what I took. Maybe get your thoughts on things. Because you have more experience than I do regarding Bigfoot. But there's times where I'm like, either I'm tired or I'm hypnotized. And when I say hypnotized, that's like I'm trying to focus on my surroundings, and then all of a sudden I can't. It's a weird thing.
Same thing.
It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing where it's like I'm trying to have my senses heightened, but I'm hiking around. I got my food. I got my backpack. I'm prepared. I have a couple of small hunting knives just for protection, right? I'm not, I don't have anything really big, but then then I get so focused, it's hard for me to focus on my outside surroundings because I'm trying to have an experience. But then when I can't, it's not that it's funny because I know the difference between being tired and then the difference between, but it didn't feel being tired. It felt more hypnotic, and I'm not saying I was hypnotized, but something that was distracting me from my surroundings. Right? I don't know if that makes sense. It's the best way I can describe it.
Okay, we got a couple more things to tell you.
Sure.
After they took that meat and all that, and the cameras, or they did exactly what I asked for. I told Tanner, let's go back there. Let's go back and set in that area. We'll just. I got too much energy to meditate, but I said let's just go back there, and we'll get a couple dead trees. We'll set on them. Right. We'll just sit close together, shut our eyes, and just be quiet and sit there.
Right.
Now, as soon as I tell you what Tanner says, something happened to me. All of a sudden, he says, "Oh my God, that rotten dead meat, really bad smell." When he said that, I get pushed off my tree I was sitting in. The tree was on the ground, I'm just sitting on it. I get pushed right off of it.
You feel like a push, like something pushed you.
Yeah, something pushed me. I opened my eyes right away, and there's nothing there. And I didn't get the smell, and we'll talk about that too. I never had no smell, and my smeller works good. Yeah. So we sat there, and I said that was a good one, you guys. That was real good. Pushed me off the tree, I said. Then we had some bird whistles at us again. The same bird whistles that aren't real good sounding bird whistles, kind of cheesy sounding. That's
Right.
the Minnesota slang.
Okay.
Cheesy sounding. But I never seen nothing. I didn't
Right.
see no birds again. And nothing. No, we sat there for a while. Here's what I know about the smells. Sasquatch does not smell bad.
Okay. Okay.
They put that smell in your mind.
That's right. You mentioned that before.
Reason why I'm saying that, I didn't have the smell. One time, Doug Hychek and his recording engineer guy and Tanner, they wanted to go see my gifting area. I took them back there, and they're looking it over and looking at the caps. They were really amazed at how the peanut butter caps were. They said, "Randy, sing." I said, "What am I supposed to sing?" He said, "Are you playing a band? Sing." Well, I said, that feels dumb doing that, but I started singing. When I stopped, all of a sudden, all three of them got overwhelmed with that smell, and I did not.
Mm.
They said, "Sing again." I sang, the smell went away. I stopped singing, they got the smell again.
You think it's because
So
they didn't know them or their intent
I
or
think so. Yep. I
yeah.
think so. Yep. Because they didn't know them. Now, when a skunk sprays, you smell it.
Right.
You keep smelling it. It don't just smell and dissipate. You
Yeah.
smell it.
It's distinct. Yeah.
Right. So if them Sasquatches smelled bad, I would have smelled it. I never smelled it. I have never smelled no bad smell. Never.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
So now
So
here's another weird thing. What
yeah.
does this here? One couple summers ago, I came home to our driveway and there was a skunk crawling around. Only his scent glands were taken out.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, I'm not kidding you. No, that's
Wasn't
true.
eating. It wasn't
No,
eating.
it's not eating.
It's
Just
sitting
his
on
scent
the
glands were ripped out because I had to put him out of his misery. And I
It was
turned him over.
wait, it
Just
was
the scent
alive.
glands were
It was
taken.
alive.
Oh, he was alive. Yeah, he was crawling around. I had to go get the gun and put him out of his misery. He was, yeah, he was.
So is there any if it was a human, that's crappy for just taking scent glands out and letting it live. But what I'm saying that is and I'm just curious. There's no animal that we know would do that.
No, there's not. And I've talked
So
to the game wardens and just to make,
just to make sure there's
I know the answer, but just to make sure, no, there's no animal that'll do that.
so
And
why
that's in the area where they've been seeing, neighbors have seen Sasquatch. Now here's another one.
yeah.
One morning, about 4 a.m. in our yard, I hear this raven squawking, and it's dark out. I didn't get up. It squawked for 1 hour, 1 hour straight, wouldn't stop.
Hmm.
So when I get up that morning after I eat, I'm going to start mowing lawn. I go down to the corner down there where the Sasquatch has walked before. There's a raven head and raven legs, but the body's gone. The head was ripped off and the legs ripped off and the body's gone. And what does that? And the other raven was squatting because I guess ravens mate for life. That's what I've been told. And that raven, what does that?
I don't know. Wow.
I don't know either. That's another weird thing. Here's another weird one.
Yeah.
I'm back in the woods, way back, and I come across a whole bunch of straw. Well, there's no straw around here. Only way to get straw is you combine oats and then you bale up the remains in that straw. And the only guy around here is about 2 miles away from our house, and it's all woods around here.
Right.
He bales straw, and that's those big round bales, and they wrap them with that nylon webbing.
Right.
Each round bale. So I'm walking back in another section of woods where I don't go that often. And all of a sudden I see all this straw laying down and all these willows bent over. And I see a new X, and I'm looking at, oh God, look at that X and those willows bent over. And I find a pile of crap that's about 2 feet long and about big as a 5-inch pipe. It's big. And I'm looking at it. Oh my God, this has got to be the real thing. I say, I get ready to take a picture of it, and my phone goes dead. It was 100% charged when I left the house. So it goes dead. I keep walking around.
Yeah. Something in the air, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. So
exactly. Well, someone was there. Yeah. Anyways, guess what? I start going back home, and about a half mile away, I find my nylon webbing wrapped around a tree. Now, how does that happen? And when I get home, I decide to go back there the next morning to get a picture of that again, get my phone all charged up, and that crap was gone. It wasn't there.
Wow. Wow.
How about this one?
Yeah, go for
the SRA guys were getting worried about all the stuff happening around here, so they bought me some security cameras. So I put one of the security cameras in the bedroom facing outside. and it would be hooked to my email. So if something set it off, I would know. And one morning, I'm up, Terry's in the kitchen, and my phone goes off. Oh my God, Terry, you got to see this. I got a dog. I got a dog that's forming like a ghost dog. I get ready to hand it to her. My phone goes off again. Oh, Terry, I got a Sasquatch. There's a massive Sasquatch here. I go to hand her the phone. My phone goes dead. Oh, my phone went dead, I say. I go plug it in. It pops on 75% charge, and that Sasquatch picture is gone. And it was clear.
Wow. Yeah.
But I still have the dog. I sent you that dog picture, didn't I?
Yeah, I think it was the first one he sent me. It was insane. I was like, dude,
I know.
no. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm like, it's funny. It's funny because I appreciate you sending this stuff. And at the same time, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I don't just share it to the whole world because I want to respect Randy.
Yeah.
No, because it's a trust thing. I want to make sure I respect that. But that was an insane photo. I was just blown away the look of it, and I didn't, obviously I still have my phone because it's one of those things I'm processing it.
Exactly. Yeah, you can send that to some people that know more about ghost dogs and all that stuff
Okay,
than I know because
but
I don't. Yeah.
It's but it's okay. It's like there's things that like there's fast food, right? And there's this gourmet meal. Right now, those photos you sent me are very gourmet meal. I'm digesting still because I'm trying to make sure, number one, I enjoy it. I don't want to just shoot it around, and to make sure I process it appropriately.
Right. How about this here? You
Yeah.
know, when you have a swing set, like a kid swing set, you'll have the chain and then you'll have the white seat, but you can kind of bend the white seat. There's been times I found that white seat upside down back high up in a pine tree.
Wow.
There's be times I'll find a baseball up in the crotch of a tree back in the woods. I don't know where's it come. I've asked my kids that don't live here no more, did you ever do that? No, and I know they're not lying about it because back in those days we never talked about no Sasquatch stuff.
But then you start pulling things together too, like and that's a good point because I'm sure you're probably going back even further before these experiences happen. Like, what if it's been a lot longer than I thought it was? Right?
Yeah, I think it has been.
Yeah.
I think I just didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't care about it. I didn't know nothing about it.
Right. So I got to be honest, man. We're gonna have to do a second parter, but I'm gonna do this as the first episode because you got so many great stories.
Sure.
But here's what I want to ask you before we kind of wrap it up a bit, because Randy, dude, I guess that I'm blessed and honored just the conversation, and I also want to talk after we wrap this up a little bit briefly.
Yep.
One question runs in my mind. Since they're interdimensional, right?
Yep.
They
sure.
They could bring themselves over. Could they choose to bring somebody from here over to their side? Like, say if they invite you, like, do you think they have that ability to do so, or is it only based on their ability to do so? They can cross. They can't bring something over the other side.
Well, they can bring some, because they bring the peanut butter and then the deer.
Oh, that's right. Have you ever? I mean, I'm not sure if this question around. Have you ever thought about mind speaking? And I'm not saying I want you to disappear. God forbid. Wouldn't you like, hey man, I want to check out your home. You checked out my home. I want to check out your home. I mean, ever has that crossed your mind? It was like, I'm good.
Yeah, no, it's crossed my mind a lot, but I still got more saxophone, boogie woogie piano do that. I don't know if I want to do that. Maybe I don't get to come back. I don't know.
Maybe you know what? You could tell your band you actually met the she squatch, the actual real she squatches, the ones that are female.
Yep. Hey, can I tell you something about do I got enough? How much time do I got left?
No, go for it. Go for it. Keep going. Go for it. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. The she squatch are the real deal. I got something to tell you about them. They do remote viewing, and I'll tell you three quick things.
Okay.
The remote viewing is, they can be in where they're at and see the woods here and actually see it in real time.
Okay.
Because they see me one time walking out in the woods. They'd never been here before. They told me what I was wearing, where I was at, the whole works. Part one.
Okay.
Part two, they seen 20 of them here in their remote viewing.
Right.
Part three. One time me and John was out in that same stand there. Nothing really happened. We waited till about 11 or maybe it was midnight in the stand, got out. We're walking back, and across the river, there's a bridge.
Right.
And I make everybody use red beam lights, not white lights. Even when I go out deer hunting, the deer are not so scared of a red beam. Anyways, I'm just joking. I just said, hey, wouldn't it be something if I shine the light down there and there was a cougar down there? And we just kind of laughed. And I took my flashlight out and there was a cougar down there. Oh my God. We're looking at it, it's looking at us, and it turns around, going to walk off, but then it stops and turns around and starts walking towards us. And I always carry a pistol with me.
Right.
And I tell the Sasquatch what the pistol's for. It's not for them in case ornery bear or cougar or wolves or something. I can't protect myself like you guys can. But anyway, I start taking the pistol out because that cougar is walking towards us. All of a sudden, a log comes flying at us from across the river, and then that cougar runs off.
Do you think it was doing to protect the cougar?
Well, I think so. Well, this is the second part of that story.
Sure.
When the she squatch, I had never told those girls about that cougar story. They don't know nothing about it.
Right.
When they were here for 5 days doing that filming of that documentary, the one told me, "Hey, Randy, you got a Sasquatch out there that has friended a cougar. They run around all the time." I said, "Oh my God, I got something to tell you about a cougar." She didn't know about that.
Jesus. Yeah, you know what, man? Like I said, the truth is stranger than the fiction.
Right.
It is because, oh God, that's, like I said, that's a whole nother episode. Jesus.
Yep. And if I
So
had
much
to give a
stuff.
closing comment,
Yeah,
here's
go
a
for
closing
it. Yeah,
comment.
please go for it. Go for it.
Okay. They've been searching for these things for hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, and not really got nothing. Yeah, people maybe get a glimpse of something and they got the people coming out there trying to react it and all that stuff and think, well, it could be, we don't know, it could be. And what I'm trying to say is, why is that? Why is there tracks in the snow that start and stop? Why is all that? When people think they're just a regular animal, it doesn't make no sense at all.
Right.
At all. When you open your mind up and your heart up and go out in the woods, forget the stupid knocking, the stupid whooping and all that. That ain't gonna get you anywhere. They are interdimensional and they know what you're doing and they can read your mind. The ones that are going to get really far with that is doing what I'm doing, not try to get evidence off them, go with an open mind, talk to them. And there's never going to be evidence for the world, not in the way the world wants it, but there will be evidence for individuals. And that can be evidence for the world. Because if they were just a regular animal, they'd have been found by now or known after thousands of years of them trying to search for them. And the natives that talk about them say they're interdimensional, they're not wrong because they are.
And I
have nothing to gain by putting myself out there making some crap up. I have nothing to gain for doing that. I'm just telling the truth.
You know what, Randy? I gotta say that's well said. And I think the takeaway, this interview is gonna be more, not just the first, but many hope to come. And I want to say that from what you're saying is basically come as who you are. Drop everything you think you know. Embrace embrace what's in front of you. Have a good intent. And really embrace, and don't, it's, have the right intentions, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And I gotta say this interview, I have more questions than I do answers. And I love that. You know why? Because I hate being bored.
Sure.
And I hate being bored. And I just want to say, we'll talk after in this interview. I'm gonna, when I end it, just briefly. But I want to say I'm humbled and honored to have this interview with you. Like I said, I did some research regards to the stuff you've done behind the scene, like with the stuff you've done that you talked about. And it is an honor to you to reach out to me, or like to respond to me with those messages, because I'm all about the truth. I'm all about to open our minds to what's out there and to not settle for what's been telling us. Like I said, I believe in the truth, but I also believe, don't let somebody control the narrative of what's out there. Like this is the planet where we should explore every opportunity that's given to us, no matter if it's ridiculous as it sounds or not. Who cares? The opportunity is out there. We need to embrace these things that has all the possibilities. And even as ridiculous as it sounds, that's the beauty of life, right? And we should
Yep.
do that. And I think everybody should be inquisitive. To me, it betters my day. It gives me a purpose to keep going. Um, and before I end it again, I want to say, before I end it, stay on the line. But I want to say thank you so much, and this has been a huge honor, and I appreciate everything you're sharing tonight and so forth. Everybody, want to, you know, I know I kind of sound a little speechless, but I really want you to listen to this interview. I really want you to reach out to Randy Bauer. And Randy, by the way, how can they reach you? By the way, what's the best way to reach you? I know you mentioned Facebook, but I want you to give you the opportunity how they can connect and reach out to you.
Well, on the Facebook it says Terry.
Yep.
That's my wife, Teri, Terry Randy Bauer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Randy, and my little Bigfoot thing is Randy's Bigfoot research. But I'm an open book. I'll talk to anybody. But you know what I'd rather do? I like talking on the phone and not texting with my finger on my phone. It's too much.
Hey
Too
man,
much.
hey man, our fingers are precious, especially as musicians. We got to take care of these bad boys.
Yeah. So I mean, if somebody wants to give their number to me, I'll call them. I'll talk
Sure,
anytime
sure.
because I feel the truth needs to be told. I'm tired of, and that's why I try not to chime in on all these Facebook things there because I see such dumb stuff on them Facebook pages of people thinking this or that.
Oh, dude, sometimes it's like you just want to eat popcorn, let people just fall on their face with all their comments. Everybody, yeah, definitely reach out to Randy on Facebook. If you in regards to what he shared, if you have a hard time trying to reach out to him, feel free to reach out to me at bounded, almost said Bigfoot because we talked about tonight, boundedtruth34@gmail.com. Also my Facebook, Bounded Truth, on YouTube and on X, and I'll be glad to connect you with Randy within respect to him as well, because he's a busy, famous dude.
Oh yeah.
I still got to reach out and get his autograph. That means I got to fly out to Minnesota to get that. But other than that, everybody, I want to again, Randy, thank you again for being on. This is me first out of many. Look forward to talking to you more in other future interviews. Everybody, have a great night and God bless.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.